Welcome, 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 one and all, to Dragon Quest Papi. I don't even know what episode this is, but for my podcast, but here we are. I don't know if I've hit 100 episodes yet, but we're there. So anyways, this episode of Dragon Quest Papi is live, this podcast, and I am going to discuss this topic that you guys can already see what this is. I'm going to be talking about what I want to see from Dragon Quest 12, basically. Before we actually get started, I am going to wait maybe a minute or two just in case anyone actually joins. And then on top of that, then I can start like with the meeting notes and all that stuff. So yeah, but as of right now, um, yeah, let me just maybe wait a minute. I might actually promote it real quick, um, and just make sure people know that I'm live on the Discord at least, and then we can get started. So first things first, if anyone's in the chat, let me know. And then hopefully everyone that's watching after this actually comes out, let me also know. But yeah, so let me just share that I'm live. It looks like there's a couple people watching, so that's awesome. Let me just post it on my Discord real quick. And yeah, we can get started. So here we go. Live now. Boom. And then I'll just go to all of the freaking a boom. And then we'll go to the other Discord server. Ha boom. And we'll go to the last one. And a boom. And cool. There we go. All right, so we can get started now. So, all right, guys. So I've got my notes of what I'll be talking about today. Just so you know, I have gameplay of Dragon Quest 11 in the background. So this is actually gameplay of my very first Let's Play live stream I've ever done. I just minimized, I took the part of the video where you can actually see me off and you can only see the gameplay of the video. So anyways, so yeah, so let's move on. So the notes for this episode are going to be the following. So first, which we've already basically done, we're going to be doing introduction and welcoming everyone. So that's basically we've already done this. So welcome everyone to the show. Second, I'm going to be letting everyone know, what we're going to be covering today and, in what order, which is right now. Third, is the main subject. So we will be getting into the main subject right away, right after I'm done with the meeting notes, which again is what I want to see from Dragon Quest 12. And then number 4 would be the question segment. So if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, or, I'll even ask questions to you guys if you want to answer, maybe your thoughts on what, I talked about, then we'll go through that. And then after that, I'll talk about some of the projects I'm working on, some of my plugs, things like that. Obviously, I mean, I got to promote myself somehow. So, and then after that, we will close, and that will be it for today's episode. So, just a little bit of reminders. So, this live podcast will be something that will happen once a week. So, Thursdays is when I usually upload a podcast episode. In the last several months, they've been much shorter, only because I've been really just making like a video of a topic and then just, yeah, they've been like 8 to 15 minutes long, which is fine. I still consider it a podcast, but this is going to be a longer form of a podcast, so just everyone understands kind of what they're getting into. So anyways, let's get into the actual main topic. So what do I want to see from Dragon Quest 12? Okay, so this might be a little bit controversial, but at the same time, I don't think it is, because we've already kind of seen this specific idea from in Dragon Quest. But basically, the thing that I would like to see more than anything, and I'll discuss different things as well, but I would love to see a more fleshed out marriage system. So let me explain. So basically, like I said, Dragon Quest V, we actually experienced that sort of system, but it was kind of very limited and very basic. In the original version of Dragon Quest V, you only had 2 marriage options, but depending on who you married, your kids, I mean, they looked identical depending, if you chose Bianca or if you chose Nera or Flora, but their hair color changed, which was, it obviously gave them a little bit of a difference when you choose a different wife. But and then in the remakes for the DS, you have the choice of marrying Deborah, and the hair color changes according to that as well. But it's very basic in that sense. It's like you're still gonna have your 2 kids. The only difference is their hair color. Now, is that a bad thing? No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying what I want in 12 would be the exact same thing, where I have different options of who I can marry, but I want to have different options for children. So my best example I can give for this would be a game called Fire Emblem Awakening. Well, Fire Emblem Fates, which was Fire Emblem Conquest and Birthright and then Revelations, did the same thing, but Fire Emblem Awakening did it so much better. I mean, it was the first one that did it in the Fire Emblem series. I don't know if you guys have played Fire Emblem, but basically what Fire Emblem Awakening did for the series basically shocked like the system to make it popular again. So let me explain. So Fire Emblem, it was a dying brand. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Fire Emblem. There's no way you haven't. I mean, at this point, it's definitely not one of Nintendo's strongest, like most, up there, IPs like Mario, Zelda, stuff like that. But I would say it's the next tier down in terms of popularity. So you should have heard of Fire Emblem if you haven't. So I used to love it to death. Now I've fallen away from it a little bit. I haven't played the new one, for example, and I have never beat Three Houses. But in my sort of opinion, I really preferred the 3DS versions of Fire Emblem games. I loved all of them. All of them were incredible. I replayed them 1,000 times. I love them so much. And anyways, this was before I found Dragon Quest. But anyways, let me get back to the subject, or to the topic. So basically, when Fire Emblem Awakening came out, it was a dying brand. It was a dying game. It was a dying franchise. What Nintendo told Fire Emblem basically was, if this game doesn't perform like 1 million copies or something like that, then this is the last Fire Emblem game ever. So what did the developers do? They went ham on jam-packing the game with a ton of awesome features, a ton of different graphical updates, like battle system, like everything was just gorgeous. I absolutely adored it. But basically they went all out. right? One of the features, again, that they did, which was really cool, which involved time travel. Surprise, surprise. I mean, most every game does these days. Um, is this marriage system. And the cool thing about it was you could choose, there was like a specific amount of children that were like allowed to be born, I guess you could say. But you know, and some kids couldn't be born at all depending on what couples you chose to be together. But it was just cool. All of the different, like the replayability of just that aspect was super cool. And because eventually, basically, in the game, because again, time travel is involved, the kids, after you marry a couple, and they get married, um, the kid will travel into the time period that you're playing through from the future. Because in the future, all the parents, everyone's dead, right? Except for the kids. So the kids had to come back to the past, which is the timeline you're playing right now, to help their parents save that time period to then save their future time period. So again, that's overly simplifying the story of Awakening, which is, again, really awesome. I loved it. But that aspect of including, your kids was really cool. Now, Dragon Quest V did it as well in its own way, which we all know that is basically the way that they did it was like, oh geez, I'm showing a menu on the gameplay stuff. Anyways, basically we know that the way that they did it was, you got frozen, by Laja, Bishop Laja, for 8 years, and then eventually your kids find you when they actually are of age or can actually become official party members. So, and so that's kind of how that worked in terms of them actually being able to be playable party members. Now, that was awesome. That was fine. That was a cool way to make it so you can actually play as play with your kids, like as in like you can have them as party members. Which at the end of the day, again, it makes sense. But um, yeah, there we go. Shout out to Poncho Panther and my buddy Miles, that I put them on the screen in this gameplay footage. But anyways, so basically, again, what I'm trying to say is I would love to see a feature just like in Dragon Quest V with marriage options and kids, but be way more fleshed out like it was in Fire Emblem Awakening. And I'm using them specifically, again, as an example because I really like how they did it. Now, I don't know how you would involve the time travel aspect, but I mean, or if there is even a time travel aspect, because the way that Fates did it, Fire Emblem Fates did it, was they didn't do time travel, but the worlds that the kids appeared in after, a couple got married was kind of like a pocket of like time itself where time moved quicker. And so once the child character was of age, which again, since time moved a lot faster, they became of age very quickly, in the story. Then you could just recruit them eventually when they're old enough to be how old they should be of, how the developers created them. Then you can recruit them onto your party. So anyways, there's many ways you can involve this, or you could do this. But again, it just comes back to the example of Dragon Quest V. I mean, they did it in their own specific way, which worked. But basically, that is one of the major things I would love to see in Dragon Quest 12. I would love to be able to have a more fleshed out marriage system. Which it would involve, again, children as playable characters, just like in Dragon Quest V. But instead of the hair being the only thing that changes, it's more than that. And it's not just the hero character. I would love to see your party members be able to also get married, have kids, and those kids also be playable somehow. So again, I don't know how you would necessarily do all this. I just know that would be such a cool like feature that Dragon Quest 12 should add, which would again add so much replayability to the game. Like a lot of replayability. Because that's the thing too. Like going back to Fire Emblem Awakening, you have so many different marriage options, right? With specific, I mean, not necessarily so many different marriage options with the characters. They're limited to a couple, but it's just enough to make it seem like everyone can, kind of intermingle with like marrying who. And then again, the kids will all be different and they'll have different hair color at least, depending on which father and mother they have, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, but it was just really cool how they did it. So I would love to see that in Dragon Quest 12. Absolutely would love that. So anyways, that is my number one, like most requested thing I would love to see in Dragon Quest 12. Now, a couple of points I want to also touch on or potentially see. So, excuse me. So, um, okay. So if we look at all the Dragon Quest games, right, from Dragon Quest 1 to Dragon Quest 11, the mainline games, right, there are one, I guess, doesn't really count because it's the first one, and so there's not really like much of a difference or of a situation going on. I mean, there is. Basically, you are a one-man army. You learn healing spells, attack spells, debuffs, blah blah blah, right? And you're also buff as hell, right? So there's that. But you go into Dragon Quest 2, and there isn't officially. Okay, I don't know why, but for a second OBS disconnected, but we are back. So I don't know why that happened, but anyways, we are back. So in Dragon Quest 3 is the first time they attempted to actually do a vocation system. It's not the best because it's the first time they did it, and like, I believe later games did it way better. But they introduced this vocation system, right? Each vocation learns different spells and abilities, right? Now, Dragon Quest 4 went back to kind of the Dragon Quest 2 model where, each party member kind of served their own role. Kiril, for example, is a healer, slash support unit, just like Mina. Maya is a mage, sort of thing. Elena is like a martial artist. Borgia is another mage, blah, 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 right? So they all had their own roles. Now, fast forward to Dragon Quest 5, same thing as 4 and 2, right? Dragon Quest 6 went back to the vocation system and did it much more in detail and fleshed out. Dragon Quest 7 took that vocation system and then, made it even better with a little bit more refinement, I guess you could say. Then Dragon Quest 8 kind of did its own thing in the sense that it kind of took a mix of both and then made it its own thing. What do I mean? So, for example, each party member kind of serves the same purpose as the party members in 5, 4, and 2, but you also have a little bit of like personal like adjustments you can make to your characters in the form of what weapons you want them to level up, right? So, the hero can hold swords, he can hold spears, and then, everyone can do fisticuffs, but, and then they also have a specific, skill tree to themselves. So that was a really cool way of kind of mixing both systems that we've seen in, before 8 and then kind of creating a new system, right? Dragon Quest 9 went back to the vocation system, which I again love. Now, Dragon Quest 9's vocation system, I don't think is as good as 7's, but I think it's still really good. So it's really, really good. Now, Dragon Quest 10 took Dragon Quest 9's system and I don't know if I want to say perfected it, but like evolved it. So it's more fleshed out. There's more possibilities for vocations. There's more skills, blah, 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 right? And going back to Dragon Quest 11. So, and Dragon Quest 11 did basically evolved the system 8 made. And I would say perfected it, honestly. Dragon Quest 11's skill tree system is incredible. So, okay, why did I talk about every single, vocation, battle system, skill tree system in each Dragon Quest game? Because Dragon Quest 12, this is what I want to see. I personally absolutely love vocations. I love the absolute freedom that vocations give you. Now, there is a sacrifice when it comes to vocations, and it's very simple. Now, in terms of Dragon Quest 6 and 7, this is not the case, but with 9 and 10, it is. So with 9 and 10, for example, and even 3, what you're sacrificing is actual character development. You're giving up character development for more character freedom, which is awesome. But again, so in 9, I can speak for 9 specifically because I've actually beat it. But, in terms of character development, it's not necessarily your character. I mean, you do experience character development, like your specific character, the main character. But the characters that really experience more character development are like the NPCs. And then your party members absolutely do not. They're almost like ghosts. They don't experience any character development, which again, it's a pro and a con of this sort of system, right? Now, what would I personally love? The freedom of character creation and, vocations just a little bit more than the specific party members you get that play a role, and then you can modify with different weapons, right? Like in Dragon Quest XI's case. Now, Dragon Quest XI did that so perfectly that it's literally my favorite game. But if we were to see, for example, a Dragon Quest 9 with Dragon Quest 11 graphics, I'm almost positive that would be my favorite Dragon Quest game. Because Dragon Quest 11, not only is it the battle and the skill tree and that sort of like system that makes it my favorite, it's also the characters, it's also the story, and it's also the graphics. So there's a lot of things that make 11 my favorite one in the series. But again, if we could just get 9 remade with Dragon Quest 11 graphics, I'm almost certain that would actually be my favorite Dragon Quest game. Dragon Quest X is actually close to being my number one favorite. I just haven't played it enough to be able to really make that decision. I've only beaten version 1, and even then I haven't fully experienced version 1. So before I make that decision, I would like to see more story development for characters. I still haven't even met many of people's favorite characters from Dragon Quest X. So once I actually do all that, I'm actually pretty confident Dragon Quest X might become my favorite game. But yeah, I'm still holding on to Dragon Quest XI as my favorite because again, everything it does so well that it just absolutely is my favorite. But going back to the main topic. So point number 2 that I'd love to see in Dragon Quest XII, personally, is not so much center like story focused characters as in more like character creation characters that you can create yourselves and you can basically build out the way you want, just like in Dragon Quest 9 and 10. Now, I wouldn't mind them being like Dragon Quest 6 and 7, where the characters themselves are the characters, but instead of them basically, and then they do have the options to have their own vocations. Like, I wouldn't mind that either, right? But I do personally like, making my own characters. I think that makes it really fun. And just like, yeah. So anyway, so at the end of the day, I don't necessarily care so much if they're already like pre-made characters with amazing storylines, or if they're your own creation of characters. The only thing I care about is that they bring vocations back, because I absolutely love vocations. So yeah, so that's point number 2. And then point number 3, um, I mean, shoot, why not? Like, it'd be cool if you can also get monsters to be on your team. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, let's just make this game the best possible game of all time and just throw everything that's ever worked in all the Dragon Quest mainline games. I would love to be able to do monster capturing. And because, and this might be controversial, this might be a controversial statement, but hear me out. I believe the best Dragon Quest Monsters games are actually the mainline games, like 5 and technically 6. But I actually prefer the Dragon Quest Monsters sort of capturing mechanic from 5 compared to like the Dark Prince, for example. So, oops, hot take, sort of thing. But yeah, that's just my personal preference in terms of like a monster capturing system. So yeah, so again, I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm basically saying is I want Dragon Quest V, but on steroids, with modern graphics, a more beefed up monster capturing system, and involve vocations. So at the end of the day, if I had to quickly summarize what I wanted for Dragon Quest 12, is basically Dragon Quest 5 and technically Dragon Quest 6 on steroids. So yeah. So that's basically my main points. I don't know if I have any other like main points of what I would love to see in Dragon Quest 12. Um, but yeah, those are basically it. So yeah, what do you guys think about my crazy dreams, my crazy sort of wants and desires from what I'd love to see in Dragon Quest 12? Yeah. So if anyone is here, so far I haven't had anyone write in chat, not that I've seen. Let's go ahead and take some questions. So simple questions. It would be, what do you think about my thoughts, or my what I said, sort of thing. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Do you think it's crazy? Do you think it sucks? Do you have a better idea? Just let me know. And if nobody wants to chat anything, don't even worry about it. It's totally fine. Um, you know, yeah. So yeah. So again, this is what I would like to see. This is what I would, want to see happen with Dragon Quest 12. But honestly, at the end of the day, I don't even care, because I fully trust the team to give us an incredible product. I specifically love every single Dragon Quest game, every single mainline game. I'm not saying I hate the spin-offs games, I'm just saying, like, I love every single mainline game. The spin-off games are either great or good. And so, in my opinion, right? So, but again, the mainline games, every single one of them, I absolutely love. Like, absolutely love. The worst one, I would give an average score. So, and even then, I might not even give an average score. It might be a little bit above average. So anyways, even though in my original tier list video of the games, I did put, I think, Dragon Quest 2 as a C tier, I believe. But I don't remember right now, because that was like almost 2 years ago, or even 2 years ago. I don't know, whatever. So anyways, let's move on to the next segment. So what I'm going to do, actually, to kind of, uh, you know, before we talk about my plugs, I actually want to talk about what I've been playing slash watching slash doing. So I used to do this on my longer form podcast videos, especially when I had guests, because I always kind of like to see what my guests play besides Dragon Quest. Even if they're just playing Dragon Quest, that's totally fine. So I want to talk about what I'm playing slash watching slash doing, make another segment of the episode, and then we'll move on to my plugs and closing and blah blah blah. So what am I playing slash watching slash doing? Very simple. I mean, you guys should know the majority of it, which is currently playing, Dragon Quest 2. This is part of, and this I guess ties into my plugs, but this is part of my Dragon Quest 12, waiting for Dragon Quest 12 challenge, where I have to beat every single mainline Dragon Quest game before 12 comes out. I'm currently in Dragon Quest 2. I barely just got the Windbreaker, and I jumped off the tower to get to the other side of, of the map to, continue progressing the story. So that's where I'm at in Dragon Quest 2. It's been a blast. I'm loving it. I will say I know I completely changed my sort of streaming style in terms of like how it looks when I'm streaming Dragon Quest 2. And I know it looks maybe a little funky because it's just like my phone screen and then my face is very small. Um, but I'm going to be honest, it is so much easier to stream that way when I'm playing on mobile. So I'm going to stick to that. And, I understand the videos, the Let's Plays are not going to be as popular as my other videos or even live streams, but it's totally fine. I mostly want to do this challenge for me, and I'm really enjoying myself doing it the way I'm doing it. So at the end of the day, I think that's the most important thing. So anyways, Dragon Quest 2. What else am I playing? So besides Dragon Quest 2, I am on and off playing a little bit of Poke MMO. So if people have been following me for a while, they know that I've been playing Poke MMO. And on my other channel, Papi Polite Gaming, I've even streamed it. And I've made several videos on Poke MMO. Now, if you don't know what Poke MMO is, it's basically like an MMO Pokemon game with Gen 5 graphics and you being able to explore regions 1 to 5. So that's currently where the game is at right now. And they plan on doing more than just that. The game has a ton of content, and it is way harder than a normal Pokemon game. So I appreciate it because it looks exactly like the games, the original games, but with better graphics and just more like stabilized and balancing with like the Pokemon. So, and again, and an increase in difficulty because my God, this game is so damn hard, dude. I fight one trainer and I already have to go to the Pokédex, to the Pokemon Center. It's insane. So anyways, it's been a blast and I've been loving that. And so here and there, I'm playing Poke MMO as well, besides my Dragon Quests. So yeah, there's that. Besides that, and recently in the last couple of days, I've I haven't put it down, but I've slowed down significantly compared to before the last couple of days. But I have been hella playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I got the game for Christmas. Shout out to Mama Claus. And I have been very much enjoying it. I will say it kind of was a slow start to get like addicted to it. But once I really started playing it and like, I got off of the Sky Islands, like, the beginner area, and I did more exploring and I, did this and that and, explored the depths and then more Sky Islands. I don't know. I basically got addicted to the whole grind of it. So, but I've recently kind of put it down. I did play a little bit today, but like I've slowed down significantly because I've been focusing heavily on my personal project, Phoenix Quest, which I will talk about in a little bit. But anyways, in terms of that, for gaming, I have been gaming a little bit with my kids. Well, mostly Timmy, my oldest, which is 4 years old. But he is super into Mario right now, and he's played basically all of them that I own. Wonder, 3D World, Bowser's Fury, um, Odyssey, And it's funny because he gets so frustrated, like absolutely frustrated with some of the things because I mean, he's 4 years old. His skill is very limited, but I will say he has improved a ton. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is I have been helping him, in specific spots. Although I am trying to avoid to help him because I'm trying to tell him like, no, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Keep trying, keep trying. And so, anyways, but yeah, so I've been playing a little bit of Mario with my son. He's kind of over Mario Kart. We were playing Mario Kart quite a bit, for like a month, but then I I don't know. I mean, it is really repetitive, so I think he got kind of bored of it, and especially started to love to play things on his own. So, anyways, so yeah, so a little bit of Mario, and then besides that, gaming wise, but I mean Elden Ring, but I haven't played Elden Ring in like several weeks now. I'd love to get back into it. I would love to get back into it. I love that game, and I absolutely want to play it and like beat it, But yeah, yeah, I will get into that game soon. It's just very hard to get into. So yeah, so there's that. And yeah, in terms of gaming, I think that's basically it. So we can kind of end that portion. Now let's talk about what I've been watching. So, watching wise, I've been really enjoying One Piece. For those of you that don't know, I have been a One Piece fan since freaking like high school, which has been like more than 10 years, 11, 12 years, something like that. Um, and I, since high school, I have been watching One Piece. I used to keep up with the manga, but I got kind of sick of it, and I just like been watching the anime because it's so much more entertaining in my opinion. So yeah, but One Piece, I'm caught up. It's fantastic. I absolutely love the series. I'm super excited for freaking the remake of it, which the series is not even done and it's already getting remade, which is hilarious. But I'm super excited about that. But yeah, One Piece. We've been watching a ton of One Piece movies. Recently, actually, yesterday, we watched Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. That was fun with my boys. They enjoyed that. Yeah, and then I did catch up with Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. And then I caught up with Demon Slayer season 3, which was amazing. And then in terms of anime, that's it from what I've been watching. There's a lot of anime I need to catch up on and even watch. But again, my time is very limited. And so I don't really have much time to go nuts like I used to. Um, but yeah, so I think that's it for. Anime. I love this, but I've recently been getting my kids into Studio Ghibli movies. Um, so I want to say a week or two ago is when we started, but we've watched Ponyo, which is adorable, man. Oh my gosh, that is such a great kids movie. We've watched Howl's Moving Castle, and what else? And we've watched My Neighbor Totoro. So that's been really fun with the kids. I think they really enjoyed those movies, and I'd love to watch like Princess Mononoke, but I don't think they're ready for that because that movie is really creepy. And so is Spirited Away. I want to watch Spirited Away, but honestly, that movie's creepy as hell as well. So I'm kind of holding off and sticking to the lighter stuff for now. But yeah, okay, I think that's 100% all of the anime I'm watching as well. Oh my gosh, yes, Thew. Ponyo, 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 fishy in the sea. Such an adorable little song. But yeah, so that's it for the anime portion of what I've been watching. In terms of anything else I've been watching, I really haven't been watching anything else that I can remember or think of on the top of my head. I don't even know if I said that correctly. So sometimes my Spanish and English kind of mix in between each other, and I say things that don't make sense. So, anyways, yeah, I think that was it for my what I've been playing slash watching slash doing. But yeah, what are you guys playing slash watching slash doing? I'd love to know, either live or if you're watching this after I publish it publicly. Um, Okay, so let's move on to my plugs. I mean, come on, we got to talk about my plugs, you know. Okay, first things first, Papi merch. What up? This is the Papi Polite shirt. It's a simple design, but it's a beautiful materialed shirt. There's different kind of materials. My merch store is in the description. Well, I don't think it's currently in the description, but it will be. But yeah, so there's my merch. If you want to support me there. I've also got the Giga Papi shirt, which if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that the Giga transformation is something I've turned into somewhat of a meme in my own community, which I absolutely love. But I have the Giga Papi shirt available as well. So yeah, I've got tank tops, shirts, and sweaters available for my merch. Besides that, I do have different membership tiers now available on my YouTube that you can support me if you would like in any way, shape, or form. So there's different tiers that involve different perks and incentives. So that's, another thing as well. So yeah, so there's that in terms of, supporting me that way. But the biggest thing I'm really, really excited about is my tabletop RPG that I'm still working on. Phoenix Quest. Now, the name is obviously basically just Dragon Quest. I get that. But, I mean, 90% of the inspiration of my game or the world I've created is Dragon Quest related. So, I don't think it's copyright. And I think it makes sense anyways with, the story of my story. So yeah, but I'm making a tabletop RPG. At first I was focusing into turning it into like a book or a manga, but ultimately I decided to turn it into a tabletop RPG because I really came up with some really, really fun way to make this a really fun experience for people. So I haven't necessarily explained how everything works. That'll come in the future because it's a lot, but it's a lot of information. But as of now, you can basically think about it as like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of type of tabletop RPG, but it's way more like linear. Not necessarily, but like you still have a lot that you can do in the game, like, and different places you can go and side quests you can do. But I mean, like, compared to Dungeons and Dragons, it's more linear. I hope that makes sense. But I think the story is fantastic. I cannot wait to tell you guys more about it. I cannot wait for you guys to play it. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for the story. Now, it's a really slow process because I'm the only one working on this. And I'm extremely proud of what I've been able to accomplish so far, but there's still a lot more work to be done. So I'm really hoping that I can get this story, this game completed and ready for people to, try out and, purchase by summer of this year. That's kind of what I'm shooting for as a target for like this being actually available. It might be available before, It might be available after. I'm not 100% sure. There's still a lot I need to do, but I will say the story is done. The story campaign for Act 1 is done. It's going to have multiple acts that'll come out, in a period of like 10 years. Who knows how long? Because I have a lot of story that I already know how this story is basically going to go. And, I don't know how it's going to end yet, but I know the amount of content I have for my story is very, very, it's a lot, basically. So yeah, there's definitely going to be quite a bit of campaigns or acts that I'll be able to, expansions, if you will, that I'll be able to, add to people that want to play it. Yeah, the monsters are all done. I just have to like actually draw them, and then I have to transfer them and to draw them into my actual computer so I can actually make, put them onto like the books I'm going to be printing out. Eventually, I'm going to make cards for the monsters and make its own separate like card game. So that'll be cool as well. And yeah, and so basically, I've got a lot of stuff that I'm done with, but I still have to tweak a lot of stuff. For example, I'm done with like the whole rules and how the game works and all that, but all the information I'm still kind of like writing down. I'm also tweaking some things. I'm also like updating some things in terms of like how the game works and the battle system and all that stuff. But again, I would say I'm about 70% done, 80% done with like all of the information, rules, gameplay, mechanics, all of that. I'm about 70 or 80% done with that. After, when I get to about 95, the only thing I'll have to do is really like proofread everything and make sure everything makes sense in terms of like how you're reading it. And then I can make basically like a mock version of the game. But I plan on play testing way before then anyway. So yeah, hopefully I can start play testing in the next month, which I'm pretty sure I can. So anyways, I'm really excited about that. But so yeah, so Phoenix Quest, stay tuned. I'm going to be updating you guys literally every single day on the game. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about this project. I'm extremely proud of it. And yeah, eventually I'm going to be doing like, because there's going to be like live multiplayer access that we can do with the game. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we can do with it. So I'm definitely going to be doing like live streams of that and like, personal videos, how to plays videos, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, again, that'll come in the next several months. But yeah, so look forward to that. So yeah, so in terms of other projects, I think that's basically it. Let me just remind everyone my schedule that I've got. So currently, as of right now, and those of you that have been following me for a while should know this by now, I kind of change up sort of like my schedule pretty consistently. But anyways, let me read this comment by Plasma. What up? Just saw you started streaming, which I joined earlier. Also, since when did your channel get super chat element? Plasma, my guy. What's up, dude? First of all, what's up? And second of all, just recently, literally, yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, I barely got, YouTube partner status. So, yes. So I'm super, super excited about that. Super happy about that. And I will be live streaming every single day now, except for Sundays, to take advantage, obviously, of potential, super chat, possibilities and, having people sign up for memberships and stuff like that. So I'm not going to pressure anyone because I'm not about that, And so if you guys just want to literally watch and just like and subscribe and watch my videos, I'm 100% cool with that. Like that's all I need, But if you do decide to support me a little bit, there are different ways to do that. But anyway, so hopefully that answers your question. So my schedule going forward is the following. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, I'll be live streaming, but it's only going to be member only live streams. Now, I don't necessarily want to do that because again, I don't want to pressure anyone into joining, a membership tier. But my thought was basically I want to do this perk for a membership tier. So it actually, if people do sign up, they actually have this incentive to sign up, if that makes sense. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be membership member only live streams. Now, those videos, once I'm done recording them, will be visible to the public. So I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter, right? But yeah, now those specific live streams are going to be focused around my Let's Play, basically my Let's Play every mainline Dragon Quest game series, Let's Plays that I'm doing, the Waiting for Dragon Quest 12 challenge. That is going to be what those live streams will be focused on. And again, the videos will be public after I'm done anyways, but so just so you understand. Okay, Thursdays, I will be doing this. This will be a strict live podcast episode, Dragon Quest Papi live podcast, where I will be covering a specific topic every single week and just talking about it, taking questions, blah, 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 blah. So that's what's going to be happening on Thursdays. Fridays, I'm going to be live streaming, and Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays is for everyone to join. Everyone is welcome to join. I hope everyone joins. So these are for the public, live streams. But Friday's live stream will be my challenge I'm doing for Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, where I'm doing Slimes only party, and that will be my Friday live stream. And then Saturday, because I'm absolutely I want to play Dragon Quest X literally more, Saturdays will be focused on me playing Dragon Quest X. And people can join if they want, like Thew, we talked about this personally the other day, and I've invited you before. If you can make it to one of those, where we could play together, totally cool. If you can't, totally cool. If anyone else wants to join in and we could play together, So Dragon Quest X will be on Saturday nights. So anyways, that is my schedule. The live stream time will always be the same. It will be around 10 p.m. my time, Mountain Standard Time. If I could stream earlier, I promise I would, guys. But my, Mama Bear, my wife, works at night. She doesn't get home until midnight. So I'm the one with the kids that has to entertain them, take care of them, feed them during the day, during the evening, and then put them to sleep. Once they're in bed is when I can actually do all this. So that's why I'm limited to basically this time. So that's basically it for my schedule. Now, I think I have literally talked about everything and given every single bit of information that I could give. So that was it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast episode. Definitely like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow night if you're, able to join. If not, I'll see you guys every Thursday on here, or I'll just see you on whatever video you decide to watch of me next. If you have any video ideas or anything, ideas in general, definitely let me know. I definitely consider everything that is ever commented. Here we go. Are the memberships you're talking about in YouTube memberships, or are they the Patreon memberships? Great question. They are the YouTube memberships. I'm honestly probably going to close down my Patreon because I would rather just have everything in one spot, even though Patreon technically pays me out more than YouTube would. But I prefer to just do everything on YouTube at this point because I guess the only thing I couldn't really do on YouTube is like if I was reacting to like anime, which I used to do. I used to do reactions to the Dragon Quest Die anime, but I basically for the YouTube version I had to like heavily like mirror the image I was watching, the show. I had to turn down the volume all the way. I had to like filter like it sucked. So on Patreon it was way better to watch my reactions to it. So anyways, so maybe I'll still keep my Patreon just to have like a place where I can react to like anime or something, like Dragon Quest related anime. I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure that out later. But yeah, so I was referring to the YouTube memberships, my friend. So anyways, so yeah, guys, that's basically it for today's episode. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one. So everyone, have a good night. Peace.